Okay.
So we're here to talk about the education in the United States. I've been in Kenston School, which is an amazing school, for 2 months, and I'm going to speak with the assistant principal of this school, Mr. Matt Watts.
Yes.
He's been my amazing guest. Sorry, not guest. I've been a guest to his amazing school. He's been an amazing host to us for 2 months now. So I wanted to ask you, how do you become a principal in the United States, or assistant principal? What is your job? Can you tell us something about you, about your professional development, like how do you and career development, how you became a principal?
Right. Well, I appreciate it, first of all, the kind words about the school, and I've been having a blast having you all here. It's been, a fun opportunity for me to get to host you all and learn about your educational systems too. So I appreciate that opportunity. I think everybody has a different path to becoming a principal. I taught in the classroom for 13 years.
So you've been a teacher?
Yeah, I started off as a
years.
teacher. I taught fourth grade for 4 years, and then I taught in the middle school for 9 years. I taught English and social studies in the middle school, and thoroughly enjoyed that. I actually kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily by accident got into administration, but I hadn't really thought about it a whole lot, and somebody from the board office at the school district I used to work in called me and said they had a job opening for what's called an administrative intern, which is basically a principal, an assistant principal, but you don't get the same pay that the assistant principal would get. So I thought about it and applied for it and got accepted to that, and after the first year I really loved it. So I had already gotten my master's degree in education, but not in administration. So I entered a 18-month kind of intensive administrator program.
18-month program.
Yeah, so I got my principal's license while I was still working as an administrative intern. And then shortly after I got my license, I got an actual assistant principal job in that school district, and worked there for another 3 years before I came to Kenston, and now I've been here for 4 years.
And Kenston is very happy to have you.
I hope so. I'm very happy to be here, so it's been a great opportunity.
Yes,
I think everybody has a little different path of how they get into it, but obviously there's some schooling, and you have to get the certificate, and then obviously an opportunity.
So there's a principal of the school, and there are assistant principals. So what's the duty of the principal, the assistant principals, and I think there's assistant principal in curriculum, assistant principal in you are the school discipline and.
Right. So here at Kenston High School, we obviously have the head principal. That's Mr. Gabram. The lead principal has to kind of oversee everything. They have to know what's going on in all aspects of the school. The way we have it divided, we're lucky enough to have 2 assistant principals here at the high school. So actually Mrs. Phillips and I split discipline. So I handle all discipline for 9th and 10th graders. She handles it for 11th and 12th graders.
Discipline.
Correct.
Both discipline.
Yeah, we both do discipline. Luckily for us, that's not a huge portion of our job. We have a lot of other responsibilities that we enjoy doing more.
Your students are amazing.
Yeah, 95% of the time they do exactly what we want them to do, and great kids, great families, great community. So we don't have to deal with discipline as much as some other schools may need to do that.
I love seeing that when we're at lunch, like whenever the bell rings, the students just, like soldiers, they just go.
They get up and go to their class.
That was a shock for us.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yes. So, how are the grades divided in your school? You have your district has different schools, starting from primary.
Right. So we have 4 buildings in the district. The first one is Timmons Elementary School, and that starts basically like pre-K kindergarten through third grade. So, that would be considered our primary building. We then have Kenston Intermediate School, which is a fourth and fifth grade building. So just the 2 grade levels there. And that kind of helps them transition from the primary school, and they start to do some specialization with subjects there. So that kind of prepares them for middle school, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at the middle school.
And then the high school.
And then high school 9th through 12th, yeah.
So how do students get to school? I saw that you have lots of these huge buses, the school buses. Do they mainly travel by bus? Because the area is huge here. There are like 2 communities in this the Kenston for the Kenston schools. So how do they travel?
So because we do have students in 2 townships, Auburn and Bainbridge, and we're kind of in a kind of rural / suburban setting. As you can tell, the neighborhoods don't typically have sidewalks. There's no sidewalks leading up to the school. So our students either get transported by bus or their parents bring them to school. Now at the high school, once students have their driver's license, they can buy a parking permit and they can drive themselves to school. So
they can get driver's license at 16?
At 16 years old in the States, yeah.
That's amazing. Also the neighborhoods, like you've taken us around, the neighborhoods are amazing. Like I haven't seen anything similar to this. Like very quiet, calm, like lots of trees everywhere.
Yeah, so and there is a little bit of a difference in Auburn and Bainbridge. Bainbridge is a little closer to Cleveland, and there's more kind of housing developments where the houses are a little bit closer together and they have little neighborhoods. Auburn's a little bit more rural. There's still some farms in the area. People seem to have a little bit more space, but both communities are great, and it, like you said, it is a quiet community. People kind of rally together around the schools.
So there's a lot of greenery around, lots of green areas, and the school also has a green flag. What does it mean?
So we actually have we're considered a green ribbon school. So
green ribbon.
Yeah, yes. Green ribbon school. So that's a national designation from the U.S. Department of Education and the U.S. government for our efforts in being environmentally friendly. Obviously, we have the wind turbine, which everybody notices when they drive up on campus.
I was appalled, like, you have a wind turbine.
Yeah, so that's been an initiative that Kenston schools have been working on for years, and we do have recycling programs. We try to be environmentally friendly with our waste here in the cafeteria. We have students that have an environmental club. We have a gardening club. We have our Kenston trails, which utilize some of the property that we have here to, create another outdoor space. We have an outdoor classroom over by Timmons that students can go utilize. So we really do try to incorporate the friendly use of the environment.
Also, you have like the collector, the sun.
Oh yeah, we have solar panels.
Solar
too.
panels.
Yeah,
you have solar panels.
The solar panels up by the intermediate building and the board office, generate energy as well, along with the wind turbine. So one of the initiatives we did last year, we replaced all the light bulbs in the buildings to be more energy efficient bulbs to help reduce our electricity use and maximize the efficiency.
What I've seen that you're also big in sports. I went. You invited me to a football match. That was my first and amazing experience.
Yeah.
We won big time.
Yes. Yeah.
So how is what is the school doing for motivating students to do sports? Well, how many teams do you have? Like what different sports do you motivate students to take?
Right.
And you have in the school?
Right. So one of the things that we've found, and research has kind of shown too, the more activities or the more connected students feel to their school, the better they do all around, whether it be in the classroom academically or social emotional development, those types of things. So we certainly try to encourage kids to be active participants in all of our extracurriculars. Sports happen to be, one of the biggest, ways that students participate. So we do offer a pretty broad array of all the sports. I think we have 26 different teams, and that would include different levels. But each season, during the fall, the winter, and the spring, we have multiple sports to pick from for both boys and girls. And we've been very successful in the past couple of years with all of our athletic teams.
What is the biggest sport, like
Actually, the team that has the highest number of participants is track.
Track?
Our track and field team is large. Coach Chris Ickes is our track coach, and he does an outstanding job with the program. So we have kids that are participating at a very high level. We actually had our girls, one of our girls' relay teams last year made it to the state championship and finished. I believe they finished third in the states. We also
third in the states, not in the
third in the state.
State of Ohio.
In the state meet in the state of Ohio. And we also have other kids who are participating in track just for the social aspect and the exercise, and maybe don't compete at that highest level, but they still want to be part of the program and the team.
You also have football?
Yeah, football is a huge sport. Our football team was the state championship last year,
yes,
so 2018 state champions, and that's a big program too. That's one of our larger teams as well.
2019, hopefully.
Yeah, we're open. Hopefully.
There.
We just had our first loss. We lost to Chardon last weekend.
Really?
On Friday. So
I'm happy I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was a close one, but we also lost to Chardon last year and then went on to win the state championship. So hopefully that will work out the same way this year.
You said you had a hockey team?
Yeah, we do have hockey. We have in the winter we have boys and girls basketball, wrestling. We do. Coach Ickes actually works with a club program. They do like an indoor track season. In the spring, we offer baseball and softball. We have lacrosse for both boys and girls.
I saw lacrosse is very, very famous in the school.
Yeah, lacrosse is pretty popular. It's definitely a growing sport in this area. A few years ago, it was kind of hard to find teams that had, varsity teams, but now just about everybody in our conference does.
Very popular.
Yeah.
What about music?
Music's another one. Obviously, the marching band participates at all the football games. We have, bands that also compete over the winter and the spring. They go to regional band competitions for like symphonic band and other types of concert bands that they participate in. And we also have vocal music too. So Mrs. Green works directly with Mr. Link, who's our band director, and Mrs. Green runs our vocal program. So they have choirs, choruses, they have some small ensembles, and they'll compete also throughout the course of the year.
What's the approximate number of the students? I saw that it's a huge band. It's like so many students want to be involved in.
Yeah, we have I believe over 100 students in the marching band. Yeah, and then the choirs vary a little bit in size, but we probably have close to that many students involved in the vocal music too.
That's amazing.
And that kind of combines with our theater arts, our performing arts work together. We just got done with our
We have a theater at the school. That's
right. Yeah, it's outstanding. And we always do a musical. This year we're doing a musical in the winter. It's called Elf. It's based off the famous movie Elf. Mm-hmm. So they'll do that as a musical, and we just finished our fall play Clue. So our performing arts program is outstanding. And if you come to see one of our productions here at the school, you'd be hard-pressed to find high schools that put on such impressive performances.
Amazing. I really believe that from what I've seen by now, it's everything is outstanding. When we were at the football match, one of my friends, I brought a friend with me, he asked me, so what league is this?
Yeah.
Like high schoolers, they're just,
yeah.
It was amazing. These kids are, he was really, really amazed by this.
I'm always amazed at the level of whatever it is, athletics, performing arts, academics, that
very
our kids
professional.
do. Oh yeah, it's
very professional. Yeah. Also, you have a cafeteria in the school, which is amazing. I've tried the food there; it's outstanding. Like kids get to choose only from very healthy food.
Mm-hmm.
like they can have some stew, they can have some meat, like it's everything is like they're doing a video that now one of the students in the multimedia class they're changing to the food to healthier, more healthier and healthier.
Right.
You don't have sodas here, you don't have like junk food.
Right.
That was amazing for me. Like you take care of the students' health. Like
so part of the program is when you participate in a school lunch program, you do have to follow the guidelines that the government sets up for healthy lunches. So, you know, each lunch has to include, you know, a certain portion of servings from the different food groups, and we're not allowed to serve, you know, the sugary drinks and the sweets and things like that. So we do have to follow those guidelines. Some of those are set down by the federal government, and the state controls a little bit of that. But our food service director, Andrew Mendez, does a great job of trying to make it a balance between the healthy and nutritional things that he's required to serve and trying to also get the kids what they want to serve.
So all in all, I would say like there no around the school there are no places they can get food. It's only the cafeteria. So it kind of gives the school has a control of what the students are consuming.
Yeah, we do in that respect. Obviously, students are able to bring lunches from home, so a lot of our students do pack their lunch.
Yes, but the parents can see what they're packing usually.
Exactly, yeah. The parents can control that, and then, you know, we obviously publish the menu ahead of time so parents can see what is being offered at school. Some families may choose to just, you know, buy a lunch once or twice a week, depending on what's being served, what the kids like. At the high school, I think it's a little more up to the kids. You know, they don't need to have their parents necessarily telling them what they should eat at school.
Because in Macedonia, most of the around the schools, there are like cafeterias, there are like stores where they go and usually buy junk food or sodas.
Right.
So the school does not have that much like control on what the students are consuming.
Well, we also don't have an open campus. So once students come to school, they're required to stay in school for the remainder of the day. So we don't let them leave for lunch. So that may be a little different than in Macedonia as well.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And also, you're like people from outside the school are not allowed to enter. Like if they're not checked, if they don't have these things, visitor.
Right. We do have a system that we use, a computer system, to check in any visitors. They have to provide a driver's license or some form of identification, and we can actually scan that driver's license, and if there's any type of alerts that come up with that person, then we can deny them access to the building.
That's very interesting.
So, and we do try to track, you know, everybody, make sure that they have a visitor's badge, so that if you're walking around the hallway, if a staff member sees somebody without a visitor's badge that they don't recognize, they should stop and question them to see why they're in the building.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to ask you, like I've seen that the areas or your district or every district in the United States have like more say in what they want from education than like in Macedonia. It's mainly imposed by the Ministry of Education.
Right.
But we don't have to say in like different elective subjects you are providing the students with. So different, and also I can see that the parents have a lot of say. The the businesses in the area, as you said, have lots of say in the educational system. So also the funding is very important. That it mainly comes from the district itself. So how does that go?
Yeah, so the way things are set up in the United States, we do have a Department of Education that's part of the, you know, mandated by the federal government. However, they don't have a whole lot of actual control over what should be taught. They basically get their control by doling out money. So they basically say, you either do this or we don't give you this money. So they do have some control, but in the States there's a lot of emphasis on giving states and local governments right to make decisions, and especially with education. So we do have a State Department of Education here in Ohio, and they do have certain mandates that we have to follow, and they provide a good chunk of our funding. to make sure that the schools have money to operate. However, Ohio is a big local control state where each school district has their own board of education, and they make decisions about curriculum, they make decisions about how to spend the money, all those types of things. And then within our district, we find it's important to engage the community, to get feedback from parents and businesses and partnerships, because those can be mutually beneficial.
True.
The businesses can help us, and we can certainly help the businesses, and we want to be able to prepare our kids when they graduate to be ready to go out into the workforce and meet the needs that they have.
Yeah. I can see lots of the students are working in the local businesses, like local businesses come to you to ask for students who would be after that who would.
Absolutely, we have job board that we post local businesses that are looking for part-time employees. We also try to have students that may get internships, work with businesses, whether they be paid or not. It's great experience for both the business and also the student.
That's amazing.
One of the really neat things that we do is seniors, the last 2 weeks of their senior year, they can participate in what we call senior mentorship. And that mentorship is they actually go work with someone in a field of their choice for 2 weeks, and they do reflections on it and try to find out if that's something that they would like to do in the future.
That's amazing. Also, some of the businesses, for example, they want students to be taught to use a 3D printer. They would donate to the schools and ask you, like, can you teach students to use this? Can you teach students to, I don't know, make T-shirts? You have
right.
all those things.
We're always looking for partnerships with businesses, and when they see that what we're doing is beneficial, not only maybe to their company, but also to the students in the community, they're willing to partner with us. And a lot of businesses have donated money or donated equipment that we can use. You're working in the hub with Ryan, and you can see there's a lot of innovative tools in there that our kids are getting the opportunity to use and interact with and learn how to use, and they're going to be very prepared to go out into the tech world.
So, is there any message you would like to send to the teachers, to the schools, to the school principals, to the students, to us, to Macedonia? Something you would like to end up this interview with? I know you have lots of more things to say.
Yeah, I'm sure I won't bore you with all of those, but I just think it's great that we're getting the opportunity to kind of exchange our ideas and our practices. And I hope that you've learned a lot from being here at Kenston and in Ohio and in the States, and kind of learn how we do things here. But I also think it's been very valuable for us to learn things maybe done in different ways in other countries.
This was a huge learning experience for me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me here.
No problem.
And I hope that we'll continue on doing projects together, continue our communications.
Absolutely.
Communication. I will bring many things back home. Like, I've learned so much from your school, from your teachers, from the students, from the state of Ohio. So thank you for being great host.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time for the interview.
No problem. My pleasure. Oh.